Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Now, when most people hear Michael Jackson, they think king of pop, right? Global icon, the dance moves, the music.
Absolutely.
Unavoidable.
But if you really want to get a handle on the superstar, you've got to look past the glove. You have to understand the family, the structure that actually built him.
And that's exactly our mission today.
Yeah.
We're peeling back that celebrity layer. We're going to analyze the foundational unit, the Jacksons.
Right.
We're using the sources you provided to map out the parents, all 9 siblings, and frankly, the surprisingly intense world they grew up in.
Yeah.
What's really fascinating, I think, is seeing the contrast, the tension there and the complexity that, well, it created an empire.
Precisely. We're aiming for that quick but deep understanding of the family tree, moving beyond just like trivia.
Into the cause and effect. So we'll look at the parents driving it all, the sheer number of siblings, those origins in Gary, Indiana, and then Michael's own legacy with his kids. Let's unpack it.
Okay, so the story really has to start with Joe and Katherine Jackson. You just can't talk about the Jacksons' success without getting into this incredible duality they had at the helm.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson, the father, he was the engine, wasn't he, of the whole operation?
Oh, definitely. The sources don't pull any punches describing Joseph or Joe. He's defined by this almost military-like strictness.
Right.
He wasn't just a manager, he was a taskmaster. His expectation was crystal clear, practice constantly, perform perfectly, and be tough enough for the industry.
That sounds intense.
It was that level of discipline. It absolutely drove their success, no question. But it also shaped their whole emotional world,
And the sources do point out, it wasn't maybe just cruelty. He was a frustrated musician himself, a boxer.
Right.
Who poured his own sort of missed chances into this laser focus on the kids. That desperation turned into ambition. That's a really key point. He was like the CEO of this musical startup demanding maximum output.
Yeah.
But that kind of pressure cooker needs a counterbalance, right? Or the engine just burns out.
And that was Katherine.
That was Katherine Jackson. She was the anchor.
Exactly. Joe was the discipline. Katherine was the pure emotional support system.
Yeah.
The sources all highlight her care, her love, the kindness in that often really high-stakes home, and her own musical side, too, playing piano, singing in church.
That provided the sort of spiritual and melodic core. It underpinned Joe's harsher structure.
Yeah.
And what's so fascinating, I think, is that the Jackson sound itself, that raw talent mixed with perfect harmony,
Yeah.
and this kind of spiritual feel, you could argue it comes directly from that tension.
Interesting way to put it.
Well, Joe gave them the framework, the perfectionism. Katherine gave them the soul, the understanding of music, of rhythm. She gave them the emotional language, really, to turn practice into actual performance.
Without that balance.
They might have been great technicians, maybe, but global stars, probably not.
It's that essential push and pull, isn't it? The fear driving the practice, but balanced by knowing there was love and acceptance at home. That dynamic, that's the foundation for the Jackson 5.
Nailed it.
Okay, so from the parents, let's talk about the kids. The sheer scale of this family unit is something else.
It really is. We're talking 9 children, 6 boys, 3 girls, all living under that one pretty intense roof.
Let's lay out the brothers first. The core group we all know.
Yeah.
Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and then Michael. They were the original Jackson 5 lineup that just exploded onto the scene.
Right, and that's the lineup that hit it big with Motown Records. Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael.
Yeah.
The sources are clear, though, that Randy, the 6th brother, he wasn't part of that initial iconic group.
Randy came in later, right? He's obviously a famous Jackson brother too, but he joined when they switched labels.
Exactly. He replaced Jermaine when they moved over to Epic Records and became the Jacksons. So that change, it wasn't just casual. It showed the group evolving, moving beyond that first identity.
And inside that original 5, Michael, I mean, he was the youngest.
Yeah, the baby of the group.
But he quickly singled out, wasn't he, as the center, the voice, the moves.
Undeniable.
Right.
He had the most distinctive voice, the most explosive dance talent. Joe's focus, that ambition, it really zeroed in on Michael. He saw him as the catalyst.
Wow, imagine that pressure on a little kid.
Immense. Absolutely immense.
Okay, now let's bring in the sisters.
Yeah.
Rebby, LaToya, and Janet. Because the talent didn't stop with the boys.
Not at all. The sources confirm that Janet Jackson especially really followed a similar path to Michael.
Yeah.
She used that same intense foundation Joe built, added the talent she clearly got from her mother, and just forged this massive solo career, became one of the biggest pop icons ever.
So music wasn't just a career choice in that house.
Oh, no. It was mandatory. The sources paint this picture of just relentless commitment, Joe demanding daily practice, sometimes for hours.
Hours.
Hours. Every harmony, every step had to be perfect. It wasn't a hobby, it was like a factory, churning out perfection, and the 9 kids were the product.
It's that demand for perfection
Mm-hmm.
forged in that shared space.
Mm-hmm.
That's what drove their professional success.
Absolutely. It defined it.
Now let's shift from the practice schedule to like the actual place where this all started.
Yeah.
We know Michael was born in Gary, Indiana. But the physical reality, the house, and that adds so much context.
It really does. This is one of those facts from the sources that just sticks with you. We're talking 11 people,
11.
2 parents, 9 kids, all living in one small house in Gary.
11 people in a small house. Just, wow. Can you imagine the noise? The closeness.
They're very crowded is how the sources put it. There was literally no escape.
Right. If you weren't practicing, you were hearing someone else practice. Zero privacy.
And, that lack of privacy wasn't just uncomfortable. It probably helped Joe's management style.
How so?
Well, the sources suggest that because they were always right there on top of each other, Joe could enforce that practice schedule almost minute to minute.
Makes sense.
That unity they had on stage, it was first built by literally not being able to get away from each other at home.
It paints such a picture, doesn't it? The
Right.
constant noise, the pressure, everyone packed together, all pushing for this one shared dream.
Yeah.
It just highlights the incredible journey from this tiny, crowded house in Indiana to, well, the biggest stages on Earth.
And what's really interesting is that even when Michael became this global megastar, the sources say he never really forgot that small, intense beginning.
He didn't.
No. The memory of that crowded house, striving together, it stayed with him. It kind of underscores that despite all the hardships, the intensity, this was one single-minded, ambitious unit trying to make it out.
A powerful foundation,
Joe.
even if it was crowded.
Definitely.
Moving forward then, let's look at the family structure Michael himself created. Such a contrast, isn't it?
Yeah, a huge contrast. He went on to have 3 children.
That's right. Prince, Paris, and the youngest, Prince Michael II.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where you really see him react against his own public childhood. Prince Michael II had that very famous nickname, Blanket.
Right. Everyone knew him as Blanket.
But the sources note, as he got older, he actually changed his name to Biji, sort of claiming his own identity.
Yeah. So today it's Prince, Paris, and Biji.
That change from a really public, kind of unusual nickname like Blanket to the more self-chosen Biji, that feels significant.
Highly symbolic, I'd say. Michael's entire childhood was public, controlled mostly by his father. When Michael became a dad, his main goal seemed to be safety and, crucially, privacy.
Totally. That desire for privacy just defined how he raised them. They were shielded, remember, often seen wearing masks in public.
He wanted to give them a childhood so different from the scrutiny he faced, trying to balance having the world's most famous father with some semblance of normalcy.
Yeah, that must have been tough.
And if you connect this back, it really shows the lasting impact of Joe's very rigid, very public management style. Michael, with his own kids, deliberately seemed to break that cycle. While Paris Jackson does occasionally sing and act, overall, their lives are kept intentionally quiet. It feels like a clear reaction against the relentless pace and visibility of his own upbringing.
He clearly loved his children deeply, wanted them happy and safe.
Goals he really had to fight for himself.
It's actually pretty compelling how those early bonds, forged in that intense environment, seem to hold up over time.
Yeah, seems so.
Even after Michael shot into the stratosphere, the sources show he stayed close to his family, often relied on them for support, outside the crazy professional world.
And the strength of Catherine, his mother, that's a really consistent theme, isn't it?
Definitely.
Michael specifically credited her for giving him love and faith. He pointed to her as his emotional anchor, especially during the really turbulent times, highs and lows. That connection to the anchor, it stayed vital.
And the professional bonds weren't totally gone either. His sister Janet said Michael was her biggest teacher.
Right. They supported each other, didn't they? Through their own journeys into solo stardom. They shared that unique experience of being a Jackson kid.
No one else could really understand that.
Exactly. What's really insightful there is realizing that the family structure gave them more than just opportunity. It gave them a shared language. The Jackson siblings understood the specific pressures, the demands needed to operate at that super elite level. They were the only ones who truly knew the cost of Joe's perfectionism.
Right.
And that shared experience meant they could offer help, love, support that no outsider really could.
So the lasting lesson here
Yeah.
is that this family unit, hammered together in that small house in Gary. It provided a structure that was essential for growth, connection, even survival, long after the Motown spotlights faded.
Oh, well put. Hashtag outro.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening? We started off thinking about Michael Jackson, the king of pop. But looking at the sources, we get a much clearer picture of the engine that built him.
Yeah.
We looked at that profound duality, Joe's relentless drive for perfection, Catherine's emotional anchoring, how that defined their art. We saw the stark reality of 11 people crammed into that tiny Gary house, and how Michael ultimately reacted against all that public pressure by prioritizing privacy for his own kids, symbolized by that name change, Blanket to Biggie.
Right. We've seen that the Jacksons achieved this almost unbelievable world fame through a demanding high-pressure structure, mostly enforced by Joe.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our final kind of provocative thought for you to chew on. How much does that strict, perfection-driven foundation actually contribute to the incredible, lasting power of their music? And on the flip side, what's the psychological or emotional price that demanding perfection like that ultimately takes on the lives, the relationships of the people who achieve it?
Deep questions, for sure, for an iconic, complicated legacy. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Jackson family tree.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
And definitely keep exploring the sources you shared. We'll catch you next time. Michael Jackson.
Right, and the biographical details in the source really set the stage. Key dates: born August 29th, 1958, and passed away in 2009.
That time frame, 1958 to 2009, it covers such a huge shift in music and media, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Global media really exploded during his lifetime, and his title, everyone knows it, but it's essential: King of Pop.
It just says it all, really. Global status summed up.
It does. But the detail that always jumps out at me from these basic facts is how young he started. The source says, plain and simple, he began singing at 6 years old.
Just 6. You think about that. His whole life essentially was performing under that intense pressure from such a young age.
And he wasn't alone at the start, remember?
No, that's right, the family group.
He joined his brothers in the Jackson 5. They were huge, a really important start to his journey.
But the sources make a point of highlighting the next step, right?
Yeah.
When he became his own entity.
Yeah, that's crucial. He became incredibly famous as a solo singer. The material uses that exact term, solo, meaning, singing alone.
And that's when things really changed, when his own artistic vision came through.
That's the shift, moving from the group sound to defining his own unique style of pop.
Okay, so focusing on that solo career, the sources point to specific things.
That's right.
Key songs, key moments that defined his legacy. 3 songs in particular are mentioned.
Yes, these are like the pillars you have to know from this material: Thriller, Beat It, and Billie Jean.
Huge hits. More than hits, really. Cultural phenomena. They basically defined music videos, didn't they?
Absolutely. And it wasn't just the sound, it was the look, the dancing. The source actually describes his most famous move, the moonwalk.
Ah, yes. The moonwalk. How do they describe it?
It's a great description. He moves backward but looks like walking forward. That visual trick, that illusion.
Became his absolute signature. Instantly recognizable everywhere.
Totally. And that visual genius, combined with the music, led to just unprecedented global reach. We have to talk about the album Thriller. The source states it clearly: it's the best-selling album in the world.
Just let that sink in. Not just a hit album, the best-selling ever, worldwide.
The scale is just staggering. It set a benchmark that's almost untouchable.
And all that success, obviously, brought awards.
Right.
Lots of them. The source mentions he won many awards, basically, prizes for being exceptionally good.
Right, but interesting, the material doesn't just stop at the fame and the talent. It adds a layer about his character.
What does it say there?
It sums him up as famous, talented, and also kind. And it specifically mentions his humanitarian work using his money to help children.
So it rounds out the picture, not just the superstar, but someone who used that platform for good.
Exactly. Adds that philanthropic dimension to the King of Pop image. It connects the global artist to, social impact.
Okay, so bringing it all together, we've got the language tools, we've got the core facts about a cultural giant. Let's do a quick check, make sure this stuff is locked in.
Good idea. A little rapid review.
All right, linguistics first. It's, say, 7 p.m. What's the right greeting according to our source? Not hello or hi.
That would be good evening.
Perfect. Now, Michael Jackson. What was that family group he started in?
The Jackson 5.
Got it. And that's standard exchange. Someone asks, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
What's that baseline foundational answer from the material?
I am fine. the textbook response.
Excellent. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. You've now got a solid handle on these two kind of different but really fundamental areas.
Yeah, to recap the MJ essentials, King of Pop 1958 to 2009, The Moonwalk, and Thriller as the world's best-selling album. Get those down, and you understand the core narrative.
And for the language, hello, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, plus that how are you, I am fine. Structure. That's your starter pack for English conversation.
And why does this matter? Well, you're prepared. Whether it's starting a simple chat in English or understanding a reference to one of the biggest cultural figures of the last century, you've got the basics covered.
It's about being equipped, being informed.
Yeah.
That's what these deep docs aim for.
Exactly.
Okay, let's leave you with one final thought, something to chew on that kind of links these two threads, language and, well, Michael Jackson's art.
Okay.
We talk about greetings, hello, good morning. They're structured, right? Learned systems. Words designed to connect across potential barriers.
Uh-huh. Agreed.
And we talked about the moonwalk, that visual illusion of moving back, looking like you're going forward.
Yeah, iconic.
Think about the reach of that move. We know Thriller's sold incredibly well, but the moonwalk, that specific movement was recognized instantly, globally, without needing any translation. It didn't need hello or good evening.
It bypassed language altogether, a purely visual communication.
Exactly, like a silent universal greeting in itself. A piece of physical art that just worked everywhere.
Huh. That's a really interesting way to put it. Structured language versus universal movement.
So here's the thought. When we aim for truly universal communication, how powerful are those nonverbal signals like the moonwalk? Could they sometimes be even more immediate, more universally understood than the very necessary but structured verbal greetings we rely on?
That's fascinating. The directness of art versus the architecture of language. Definitely something to think about.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive, connecting those essential English building blocks with the life and the powerful nonverbal communication of the King of Pop. Keep looking for those connections.
Until next time.
The stage light with the spirit that ignites, a voice that holds the night, cast a shadow, take it light. Michael Jackson, King of Pop, he made the whole world dance non-stop. Plastic song so bright, the same music day and night. A sweet child, his heart sang wild and an unveiled eyes. With a rhythm like the tides, his left us up on joys I ride. Michael Jackson, King of Pop, made the whole world dance non-stop. Moonwalk, magic song so bright, sang never celebrate the sight. Sang for love. Message of hope, shed the toll, heal the world, it's coming to.